So now let's look at cloning nodes. So after this presentation, you'll be able to copy, clone, same thing, a node. You'll also be able to copy a whole set of nodes in a branch. These are the commands we're going to look at. So basic idea is copy-paste. That's really the idea when we say the word clone. So just remind ourselves of one of the words that we've used, and that is the word branch, particularly. You've seen this slide before, and that's basically meaning a whole area, a whole branch of nodes all together. We'll use that word a bit later. So let's do some cloning, some copying. Basically, you just say the node that you want to copy, dot clone node. That's actually the same as the node you want to copy, dot clone node false. Right? So you have nothing, false, same thing. That's how you would copy a node. Let's do an example. Let's copy a list item in a list. And where should we copy it? Well, let's copy it to the end of the list. So let's run this example. Okay, so let's run the example, perhaps over here on this machine here. So we're going to do a clone node with no message in there, which is the same as clone node false. So let's press copy it, and it has run the JavaScript, and that has copied the list item. The list item has been copied. However, you can't see it, so you think something wrong has happened, and you're right, something incorrect has happened. So we press copy again, and again the same thing. We don't actually see the list item content that we're trying to copy. And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is because we said clone node and we didn't have the right parameter in here. The right parameter was true. We did not use that. We used false or nothing. So I'm running some JavaScript and it is copying the list item, but actually it's not copying the text element that goes with it. Let's continue with our presentation. So this is the code that we just executed. We have a web page, we have a list item, lots of list items inside a list. There's our first list item, there's our second list item. All of these are inside an unordered list. And then we had a button, click on the button, it runs some JavaScript code. JavaScript code, it finds the list, my list, there it is. Get element by ID, my list, find it, and then find the last child. There's the last child of the list. It's the list item with the word hello in it. So we find the last child, and then that particular node, we clone it, we copy it. And then we want to paste it somewhere. How do we paste it? Well, we know how to paste things. We do find a particular node and then append child. That is one way to paste the copy. So we do copy, paste. Okay, clone node, append child. And so that has added the copy at the end of the list. However, it didn't look very good. It did not copy the text, hello. It did copy the list item, but it did not copy the text within the list item. So that's not very good. And that's what's happened here. There's our first list item. There's our second list item. I said clone it and then add it at the end. So it has added the list item, but it has not added the text node. So that's because we didn't say clone node true. Okay, it kind of did not add this text node. It did not copy the entire branch. Really what we want to do is copy the entire branch and then paste the entire branch. So that's the failure here. So clone node true, much better. Copy the entire branch, much more common. So let's do the same code basically. But this time we copy the branch. We do clone node true. So it copies the list item together with the text node underneath the list item. And then we add it at the end of the list. That's what we want to do. So let's run the example. So this is the correct example. There's our list together with the two items which are already in the list. Let's run our code to trigger the clone node. And now, yes, it has clone node this one, and then it has appended it at the end of the list. I could run it again. It does a clone node and append. Clone node append. This is successful because the clone node is copying the branch now instead of just one single node. Let's go back with our presentation. So this is the code of the example we just saw, exactly the same as the code that we saw before, the first example. The only difference is we now use clone node true. So it copied everything underneath the list item, including the text node. So now everything works well. So just to illustrate it with our DOM, that's what we started with, two things inside a list, and then we did clone node true, it copies the entire branch, and then we appended it at the end of that list. Success. So that's the end of our discussion about clone node.